Welcome to an episode of It's Not What You Think. This is Rick.
And this is Darren.
And we have been inundated with requests by all our fans to dedicate the show to a certain topic.
Yep.
And overwhelming response has forced us to give you what you asked for.
Yeah, so we're going to be exploring vibrational frequencies and potential healing properties of chant music. We have a special guest.
Hi.
This is my element.
It sure is.
Yep, those are yours. Oh, you gotta come and sit.
All right. So, it turns out that early church fathers actually thought about this. According to the writings of the great theologians such as Saint Basil of Caesarea and Saint John of Chrysostom, they reveal that they assigned to music a special place in the life of the church, like Pythagoras and Samos, early ancient Greeks. These church fathers expressed a belief in the existence of a music of the universe created by the Holy Spirit and imbued with certain supernatural powers that enabled it to rout demons, summon angelic aid, heal the sick, strengthen moral character, and enumerate other ways that it can contribute to harmonious order in the world.
Now that's really interesting because I recently learned that there's something called solfege tones, and they're supposed to be healing frequencies. It's a collection of 7 tones that, if you were to chant the single tone, or if maybe in modern days you had a box that created a frequency, you can listen to it at night when you go to sleep or something.
Right.
And it's supposed to heal you. And, you know, it may sound a little far-fetched, but here you have, they're saying something practically the same.
Yeah, exactly right.
They're saying there's a music, and it could be the 7 solfege tones that could create miracles. And
right.
Each of the 7 solfege tones are purported to grant certain benefits to either the listener or the performer.
Right, right, and there's a lot of research into this, like with the frequency of cat's purrs, for example, healing bones faster, increasing bone density. So there's something to this, and it seems like the early church fathers were onto something when it comes to the chanting. And it's not unsurprising that, you know, not only throughout the Mass, as we've been exploring, but also throughout the daily life of a monk, there's chants that they're doing while they're just walking through the hallways.
Yeah.
So there must be something to this.
And that's important because they had... You're going to be on camera? Come here.
There you go.
You see yourself?
Are you going to learn about the solfeggio tones?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I can do ventriloquism.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting hypothesis. We've been studying Gregorian chants, and we realized that Gregorian chants are similar but not identical to modern day scales.
Yes.
In that they have 7 tones, and they're in a row, and there's a designated starting point and a designated starting end point.
Right.
With modern composition, you usually start on the first note and you end on the first note. Where the difference between modern and the medieval is you start on one note and you end on a different note.
Right.
Often the 4th or the 5th. And at the same time, there was in another note that was important. It was called the reciting note. Because even though you'd start low... Yeah?
The reciting note.
So the reciting note is the one where the priest or the monk more recites.
Yeah.
And he stays on that one note for a very significant length of time.
Right.
Maybe that's creating the frequency that reciting note is creating the frequency of the healing, or that's purportedly attributed to the healing powers.
That's an interesting theory.
Yeah.
Definitely an interesting theory, because if you think about even in Eastern traditions, they tend to chant, and they tend to stick on one frequency,
And
like
they
the
also have
Om.
a drone.
Yeah, exactly. They have that drone.
Like even sitar music there's a drone string down there.
Yep. And in chanting, we have that drone in the bottom. So there's something to that.
Yeah, I think so.
So we're going to explore this further. You're learning in real time with us some of the healing principles of potentially of Gregorian chanting and of the vibrational frequencies of the solfeggio scale. So we've got a few pieces that we're going to look at, and hopefully we can uncover something together.
All right, let's start with Guido of Arezzo, and he developed the solfege system.
Ah.
The one that we use today, he started way back in 1500s or earlier, 1100s maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he wrote a piece that demonstrates it. It's like a teaching song.
Okay.
So he goes through the do, re, mi, fa, sol in the song.
So
It might not be recognizable because he uses Latin syllables. But let's give that a listen.
All right.
Utque an laxis resonare fibris mira gestorum famolituorum solve polluti labire
Okay, we just listened to Utque Laxis, and it's hard to hear. I have the benefit of seeing the. Well, actually, maybe I could have put that up too.
Yeah, well,
so
here it is.
You can. It's hard to hear the do, re, mi, fa, but you can see now the red circles in the music, and so he gives a do, and then he has some passing tones.
Right.
Re, passing tones, mi, fa, sol, and so that's his song and his method of teaching the solfege tones. And now you said this particular piece has an established frequency.
Well, it is around
or a representation.
Yeah, I think it was around the 260 frequency. So here we're looking at, sort of on the lower end. By the way, Cat's purrs resonated about 25 to 150 hertz. Okay. So we're well below that. So I don't know if listening to the Utque is going to help our bones heal faster.
No, it might not help our bones, but there is. Where's my phone?
Yeah, let's explore what they say about the.
Well, here the lowest one, 174 hertz, can relieve physical pain, relax muscles, and lessen stress.
Interesting.
I feel good already.
Yeah.
So this is what now?
This was around 262.
Around 262. Okay, so then we go to the next tone, which is 285.
Yeah.
It supports the healing of tissues, wounds, and burns. And so that could be some of the miracles, the miraculous healing power of music that the ancient fathers are talking about. That's represented in this particular song.
Yeah.
Because of the wave of the lines and the melody and also we need to bring in the topic of architecture.
Yeah.
How that actually assists the chanting process.
Yeah, so there are theories that early cathedral architecture, it was designed to amplify these frequencies, and part of the way that it does that, most cathedrals are made of stone. They resonate for about 4 to 6 seconds.
Right, so it's a natural reverb.
Exactly, there's natural reverb built into it. Aside from that, if you're familiar with the theory of cymatics, there's a lot to be said around some of the decoration. So a lot of people think that the Stained glass is just decorative. It could
Rose
actually...
windows are called.
Yes.
Because they're in the shape of
A
a
very
rose.
common one that we know is at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of theories that suggest that that's actually a cymatic representation, a cymatic pattern.
Right.
And if you're singing correctly within the halls of the cathedral, it resonates around and creates that pattern all around the entire church and amplifies it to the congregation. So there could be something around the healing properties of going to medieval church.
Right. And you mentioned the rose windows, the pattern. I wonder if the light coming through has some sort of beneficial effect that we're not even aware of. But it would make sense because you're talking about how that's assisting the acoustics.
Right.
It may also be assisting the photons.
Light is a wave.
Yeah. And we also emit light from our bodies. I don't know why I brought that up, but
Well, it goes to the underlying theory, right? If we are emitting light, light is a wave. We are emitting waves, which means we also receive waves or impacted by waves.
mm-hmm.
And so if it's true that if all of that's true, then it would make sense that we would be impacted by acoustic resonance as well.
Right. Okay, so what's our next superpower?
We're gonna explore. I think it's the Kyrie, which is it the Kyrie?
No.
No, it's the Victimae Paschale Laudes.
Yes.
Which is around the 330 to 390 frequency.
Okay, so that does go up to the next category, and this particular frequency is said to help overcome grief and fear, particularly subconscious blockages. So I'm going to throw my degree out the window and just focus on listening and singing Gregorian chants.
Well, here's an interesting little coincidence.
Okay.
Victimae Paschale Laudes Immolet Christiani, which is the lyrics, translates to "Let Christians offer sacrificial praises to the Passover victim." So grief helps with grief and helps with
it's all coming together.
It might be something to this.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's give this a listen.
Okay.
Very contemplative listen.
Yes.
Victimae Paschali Laudes, immolent Christiani, Agnus Redemitoves, Christus innocens Patri, reconciliavit peccatores. Mors et vita duello, conflixere mirando, dux vitae mortus regnat vivus. Dic nobis Maria, quid vidisti in via, sepulcrum Christi viventis, et gloriam vidi resurgentis. Angelicos testes, sudarium et vestes. Surrexit Christus spes mea, precedet suos in Galileam. Scimus Christum surrexisse, a mortuis vere, tu nobis victorex miserere. Amen. Alleluia.
Okay, so we're not making any claim that a single listening would grant you any miraculous benefits. It was Aristotle who said prolonged listening can of certain music, so we can say the music that resonates in these frequencies can affect the human being's character.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, church modes are not too dissimilar from the Greek modes.
Right.
So
No, they're actually created from Greek modes.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe even Aristotle.
Aristotle was onto something too.
Although we'd have to go back and explore our library. If you've been with us from the start, you'll know that we started in Greece, and we might actually have to go back and explore the library and see where some of those songs are resonating. Right. Because if Aristotle was listening to those same songs, then maybe we should work those into our daily routine.
For sure. Speaking of daily routines, there's a famous story that I have to share. I say famous. ChatGPT said it's referenced frequently.
Okay.
And the story goes that there was a group of monks in a monastery, and they would work all day and chant while they're working, and then obviously take breaks and whatnot. But they were able to stay awake for 20 hours a day and only 4 hours of sleep. And the administrator changed, and they got a new administrator. I forgot what it's called, the head abbot or something like that. And he felt that there was too much singing going on, and he wanted to cut back on it and have the monks focus on just the doing, so they could be. I'm not sure what his rationale is, and I'm sure he had good intentions. But the reality is that once he requested the cutback of the chanting, they couldn't sustain the 20 hours anymore. They were getting exhausted and needing an 8-hour sleep cycle. And so then he obviously reinstated it back, and they were back to their 20 hours again. Now, get this. I recently discovered something called the vagus nerve.
Yes.
And I heard that if you stimulate the vagus nerve, it activates your rest response. And I mean, like, truly rest. And because, you know, sometimes we rest, but muscles are still tense. Like I've used a flotation tank before, and I don't know if you ever have. If you can get a chance, an opportunity, you should really try one out. And I was living in San Diego, and I came across one at a yoga studio, and the lady let me use it. And I would go there once a week for 2 hours. And I mean, let me tell you, the word rest takes a whole new meaning. It's every muscle in your body just all of a sudden relaxes, and that's what I'm thinking goes on, because when you're done, you feel great, like you've had a full day's sleep.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what's going on with these monks, that they're chanting and they're activating the vagus nerve, which is giving them full night's sleep in those 4 hours.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue with some of the results.
Right, exactly. And, you know, it also seems like one of those things, once you try and scientifically prove it with experiments, it's going to fall to, and you can't prove it.
Yeah. Well,
that's
I mean,
kind of my hypothesis.
I mean, there's a ton of science too. I mean, even just looking at cymatics and like how those patterns come out, just in terms of.
That's cool.
Right.
They look like flowers.
Exactly. And now you can imagine, that's a 2-dimensional space. Imagine that in 3 dimensions.
Woo.
What a cymatic resonance would look like in 3 dimensions.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Probably looks like a human.
Yeah, that would be neat.
Probably looks like a tree.
That would be cool, huh?
Probably looks like a flower.
Right.
So, I mean...
All right, well, we have another track to listen to. We have the Kyrie.
Ah, yes.
And what are we expecting the Kyrie to resonate at?
So the Kyrie apparently resonates right around, let's see, the 110. So it's on the lower register, and this is mostly because the Kyrie starts low, and it also has that low end.
Yeah. The Kyrie also starts the Mass.
Yes.
And if we're starting the Mass at the lowest frequency, which can relieve physical pain, relax muscles, and lessen stress, I wonder if it goes up
As the Mass goes.
as the Mass progresses. Like the next is what, the Sanctus or the Gloria? And I wonder if the Gloria resonates at the next one, and then they give your like whole being, your whole spiritual being, a massage, a musical massage. So then you walk out of there, you're just like,
you get a soul massage.
yeah, wouldn't that be cool? Let's get a soul massage. Let's do this next track.
Kyrie.
Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison. Christe eleison. Christe eleison. Christe eleison. Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison.
All right.
Is there anything we need to add? We talked about architecture. We mentioned the vagus nerve, the solfege tones, Gregorian chant, reciting tones, brainwave entrainment.
So yeah, I think so. And it, now that we're talking about the Kyrie, I mean, one of the things that really stands out to me with the Kyrie not only is the fact that that low end is held a little bit longer, but also it's repetitive.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that goes into meditating is if you're going to do something, do it repetitively. Your breathing has to be repetitive. Your thoughts have to be fairly repetitive so that you can get yourself into that state. Eastern monks do this as well with their chanting, and so it's a very common practice that, you know, you can imagine a monk probably just sitting around singing the Kyrie for 2 hours,
Right.
fully meditating.
Yeah, because when you're doing something repetitively, you're doing it without thinking,
Yes.
and then your mind can. It helps release your mind, and so you find that you can become more of an observer of yourself rather than first person participant.
Yeah, and that sort of like getting into that mental frequency, that mental state actually increases neuroplasticity.
No, yeah.
So there's something to that, like mental training.
Remind our viewers what neuroplasticity is.
Neuroplasticity, that's when your brain is expanding neural pathways. So you're actually kind of stretching your brain, making your brain more powerful, actually expanding your brain, not physically, but expanding the neural pathways within it. So your brain becomes more efficient.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
Yep. So, you know, it's not surprising to me that the early church fathers started to adopt this chanting.
Sure. And now, to go back to, I'm putting myself in a cathedral, and I'm listening to these long, drawn-out melismas, and I'm imagining that the whole area around me is vibrating. I'm like in this quasi-invisible resonance chamber.
Yeah.
And the music is just penetrating and activating and energizing. You sent me this thing about DNA.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't have enough time to really sit with it, but it was. Now I gotta look up the guy's name.
Well, the guy mentioned that uh, certain sounds can support the activation of our DNA, and he mentioned the certain sounds, and they end up being solfege tones.
Yeah.
So we have the claim that the solfege tones can activate DNA. We have the
But it was interesting what he was talking about in terms of DNA and
yeah.
the elements involved in DNA and what all that how all that resonates and what happens when you're listening to music.
Right.
And so basically, if you break out your DNA according to how it's structured, everybody's obviously different. You resonate at a specific frequency, and if a song resonates at that frequency, that's what really locks you into it.
And he implied, I don't know if he said it straight out, but he implied that each person has their own frequency, that we're not or majority frequency or dominant frequency.
Right.
And it almost seems like that he could be insinuating we all have a gift, or you know what I'm saying? Because I hear that quite frequently, that when you go on your own spiritual journey, you discover your particular gift,
right,
and how to bring that to the world, and maybe that's the scientific or quasi-scientific, because yours in DNA, they don't obviously, the church fathers didn't know DNA.
Right, of course.
So maybe that's the quasi-scientific understanding of it, or frame of it, anyway.
And it stands to reason. I mean, it's easier to sing, like, even if you don't know what you're singing. I'm sure we've all sung songs where we didn't know the words, but you're singing along to it, and you're singing in harmony, or you're in key. And this is probably what happened in a lot of church congregations at the time. They didn't know what the hell they were singing, because they couldn't read or write. They couldn't speak Latin. But they're singing together, the whole congregation singing the same thing together in a giant resonating box.
Yeah.
So you can't imagine how that would, how that might impact you as a.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Your entire the music is penetrating, and you probably do get a feeling of lightness or buoyancy, lifting. Like you could probably. I could feel, I mean, your body becomes so sensitive that if you move this much, it feels like you're moving yards.
Right.
Sometimes you're just breathing in and out can give you this sensation of up and down, like you're flying and flapping your wings or something like that, like an angel.
So maybe there's something to this. I mean, I'm going to be paying more attention now to the Mass as we go and seeing.
That would be a really amazing revelation if the Mass gives you that structure of frequencies. It goes through the solfege tones.
Yeah.
I think I might have to go to Mass a little more.
Yeah, same, for real. But we'll see.
All right.
Well, let us know what you think in the comments of the solfege tones. Have you any experience with the healing properties of music, or if you've got anything that you'd like us to check out, leave a link in the comments, and we'll take a look. Stay tuned.